Thanks for joining me. I'm here with Jannecke from Wisdom from the North. How you doing, Jannecke?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for inviting me. And it's called Wisdom from North.
Oh, Wisdom from North. Okay, I
Yes.
apologize. Wisdom from
I
North.
know it doesn't make sense. It just sounds much better and that is what just came to me. So I just had to say yes to that.
Yeah, yeah, you just gotta trust it. I totally get it. So I just wanted to ask you how you got into this work. You were saying earlier that you started this about 5 years ago.
Yeah, I did. It just actually came to me. I wasn't doing any videos or anything like that. Well, I've been an actress and a musical theater artist, and I started studying to be a prime teacher. Prime teacher, is it that what it's called? Prime teacher, yeah.
Um,
Primary teacher.
yeah, we're
Primary teacher.
primary teacher. Okay.
Yeah, because I was kind of feeling that I was done with theater, and also I had a lot of problems with my voice, and I just felt like since I've been a child star ever since I was 7 years old, I just felt I wanted to do something else, try to see am I more than just being this
Mm,
musical theater artist. And it just didn't give me as much spark anymore. And yeah, I found different dreams, but I realized that being a primary teacher wasn't my big passion. So I
mm,
realized that after a year, and then I was feeling really uninspired one day, and this thought just came to me at a cafe. Like, what if I interview people about big questions of life? Because I'm so fascinated about the big questions, and I
mm,
really wonder why I'm here. And I've wondered all my life. Like, it doesn't seem to let go this hunger for answers. I'm
mm.
so curious, and I think about life all the time. And I realize that not everybody does that. They do their thing, go about their day, and I'm like, why did this happen? And I'm like so curious about everything. So
Yeah.
I realized I had to take it seriously. And then this idea came, why don't you just make videos and do interviews? And it just made sense in my whole being. It was really like this
Mm.
clear moment. And I acted on it. And things came to me all of a sudden. In a week, I think I got $5,000 like from different jobs that just came to me in a week. And that doesn't happen. So I could make a
Right.
website, I could buy a camera. So I got started, and I feel like I got some help somehow from life, from the universe.
Mm.
So everything was so aligned. And then I just started, and I haven't stopped. It's been an incredible
That,
journey.
that's great. So was there a specific like event that happened that made you that started that questioning for you where it was like for in my own journey I had certain events. I was very much just doing whatever everyone else was doing, this very mechanical existence. It wasn't until I had certain major events in my life did I really ask those curious and serious questions about life. Did you have anything like that, or was that just something that was in the back of your mind since you were this little girl?
Well, that's a good question because I really don't know the answer to that. Because when did it start really, and why? I did see a picture or a painting that I did when I was 4 years old with this UFO. And I have been wondering, why did I paint that? Like, where did that awareness come from? And I don't
Mm,
remember at all.
mm,
But what I do remember is that when I was, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old, I was at this cabin with my parents and their friends, and they talked about the pyramids and the curses that was there. And that just did something to me. I was like lit up, and I was like, what? Is there a curse? Like, is there this power that humans are not in control of? Oh my goodness. Like, I was so astounded that the adults didn't have an answer to this. It was just up in the air, like
mm,
this mysterious thing. And then I remember a lot that I tried, to get to contact with the beings out there. Like, I wanted to connect with someone out there, but I never knew what I was looking for. I just felt so drawn to the stars.
mm.
So it wasn't this clear moment. It was just like all along I was curious and curious and curious, and I always like knew there was someone there listening to me, like observing my life. But to
Mm.
this day, I don't know what that is. I don't know. I guess it's just this knowing that there's something more, and I cannot rest in just accepting that. Well, I guess I can more and more now. Like, I was more curious 5 years ago than I am now. I've kind of
Yeah.
slowed down a little bit and like integrated a lot more. And now I'm
Mm.
practicing. I'm going to the school. I'm practicing every week, so I'm a bit more like, I don't know, relaxed about it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can totally relate. I mean, I remember these questions really started me for like when I was around 19. And I'd say from about 19 till about probably early this year, I was always asked, or no, probably like late last year, maybe. I was always asking questions and thinking all the time. And then I realized that finally came to a point where once you start living in the world in a certain way and always being involved, those questions kind of dissipate. I think like if you're always taking action and you're always out there in the world and you're really just living from this creative space, then like those questions don't arise as much nearly anymore. Has
Hmm.
that been like the grounding that you're talking about right now, or the integration that you're talking about right now?
Yeah, it seems like sometimes we need a teaching several times before it really gets in. Like, we need to
Mm,
hear it again and again. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, and the teacher saying, I told you like 10 times. Yeah, but now I got it.
yeah,
And that's funny because it's interesting because I don't think you're ready for it if you don't take it in, and that's not. It's nothing wrong with that. It's just there's so many levels in a way. There's so many levels of consciousness, and sometimes you hear something but you don't hear it. We're so complex, and we're carrying so much baggage. And when you haven't, or I think it has to do with the baggage you're having. Like, all of a sudden, when you let go, where you release a lot of your past and your traumas, then all of a sudden, a teaching can just be like, oh yeah, now I got it,
yeah,
because your energy is different. And also, like, to answer your question, I've stopped more and more asking why things happen.
yeah,
Why does this happen? And also, how am I going to do this? How? Because I
yeah.
feel like it's a track that I easily get stuck in. So
Mm,
more like, what am I learning here? What am I to learn in this situation? And there are a lot of,
mm.
I feel like there are a lot of crazy things happening in my life, like soulmates things, like, and it's so easy to like ask this question, why, why? But
Right.
yeah, I think I've integrated more and more. Like, what am I to learn from this?
I think that's really beautiful. That's really the space that I've been dropping into as of recently too. Before, I'd always ask, why did this happen, or why is this going on? And I realized that you can ask that question your entire life, but
Yeah.
it doesn't negate the fact that you still have to live and participate in life. I think at one point it's really important to ask that question for sure, but then at another point it's really important to put it down as well, because it can keep you from actually moving forward. Sometimes people say, "Oh, like I'll give you a good example of this." So one of my clients, well, actually, a lot of my clients have these questions too. They say, "Oh, why?" or "I need to know how." And I always say, "Well, let's take it this way, right? Like, if you were hungry, you're not going to ask why you're hungry. You're just going to go and get food. You're not going to sit there and not do anything all day and be like, and ponder about it. Ooh, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? But when you actually go out there and you get that food and you eat it, you don't have the question of why are you hungry anymore, because you're filled. And
Yeah.
it's the same, I think, with life. It's like a lot of the times we ask these questions, why? And I think we're asking that because we're not living the life to the degree that I think we know we can. And so our mind is so always saying like, why this, why that? Just like, if you have that food and you're eating, you're not asking yourself why anymore. Just like if you're living life, you're no longer asking yourself why anymore, because you're fully living in life and there's that full participation in it.
Yeah, that was a really nice way of putting it. Like that was a nice picture. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it came one day I was just speaking with someone and it just came right through and it really helped. But
Yeah.
and then I think there was one more thing that I wanted to say about that though. You said you don't ask why anymore, and then you also don't ask how. I think that's really key there too. I think a lot of the times we want to know how to do something so we can feel confident and we like plan, we do all this other stuff. I think planning's important, but sometimes I've realized in my own life and some of the people that I work with that we can get paralysis by analysis, and our planning is actually an avoidance behavior keeping us from doing the thing that we're supposed to do.
Yes, I wouldn't say that I never do it, like, but I'm catching myself, I'm catching my ego really wanting to ask why and how, but I know I won't get there, so I'm trying to stop a little bit and try to, okay, but what? What do we need to do to make this happen? Well, I need to do this, take this step, take that step. It seems like a more open space to create from. And also, I heard a million times now that the universe will give it to you. You don't need to know the how. It will come. You need to tell the universe the what. So I'm trying to practice this teaching, actually. So I'm very conscious about it because it has been a thing in my life that I'm like, how and what? No, how and why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I was speaking with one of my clients yesterday about a baby, and they were asking that question too. They were just saying, "Well, I don't know how." Like that's like the bit. And I said, "You don't have to know the how. Like that's not important. Like when a baby first starts learning to walk, it doesn't get up and say, "Well, I don't know how to," because if it says that, it's never going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It just tries it out and says, "What do I need to do next? Okay, I need to lift up my leg. I need to, push up on my arms." And it falls over and it cries a bunch of times, but eventually walking just becomes like second nature.
Yeah.
And I think we forget about that nature within ourselves. That's how we're always supposed to interact with life. You just do it. You don't have to necessarily know how, and trust that you'll find your own way.
You're so right. That was such a great, because I just had the thought that life is teaching us everything all the time. We just have to look deeper and see how nature does it instead
Yeah,
of just try to figure it out here. Like babies, we
yeah,
can just see how are they doing it. They're just figuring it out naturally. I think there's so many
yeah.
answers just looking at a little child, see how they're doing it, and you're on the right track.
That's it. That's exactly it. I blame our education system. I think our education system says like, oh, you're going to sit in a desk for at least 18 years and you're going to learn up here, but you're not going to learn in your body. And we are meant to, I think, to learn in our body. So then we go out into the world and we're like, oh, I got to know how to do
Yeah.
something before I do it. And it's like, not really.
Yeah, that's part of why I couldn't be a primary teacher because there were too many things that didn't resonate with me. So
Mm-hmm.
I just realized that I needed to inspire people in another way. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
So So what are you doing now? What's your work like look like online with people? I know you do sessions with people and you do interviews. What's really satisfying about that for you? And has your style changed? Is your style changing as you're going through some of these shifts that we're both talking about and sharing?
Yeah, I'm actually not doing sessions. Like I am a mindfulness coach, but I'm doing mostly interviews. But what I started doing in 2015 was to have live evenings in Oslo. So I have an audience. I invite to an evening, and I interview people on stage. So that has
Mm,
been one concept that I've been doing, putting a lot of different speakers together on stage, and we have a whole evening, and I sing a little bit, and it's really beautiful, and I film it, I put it on Vimeo, and it has been more and more of these evenings. So and that has been very giving, and sometimes people have been coming from Denmark and other places, and I put them together, and we can have this interesting dynamic because they have different perspectives and approaches on different topics. So that has been really giving to do these interviews, and I love being on stage, and also I've been doing different projects like with people, events and stuff like that. So that has kind of grown out of just doing videos on YouTube, because all of a sudden I knew so many speakers, and I wanted to put them together. So I think I'm this kind of connector. And what is interesting, just for the people who are watching, is that I could have never done this 5 years ago. Started doing these live evenings, talking to people, these bright people, these wise people, 5 years ago, because I wouldn't have the depth and the knowledge inside. I wouldn't be such in place that I am now, and secure in a way. But it is like when you're taking step by step, and you're following your heart, and you're following that calling, like I'm going to do this feels right. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, this is my experience, that it grows, like your comfort zone grows, the opportunity grows, and you get this idea and you start doing that, and then other ideas. And now I can feel myself, I want to have a break with the live evenings, because now I want to create something else. So yeah. I'm now developing this new business model, and it's huge. It's so huge that I feel so scared. Oh, it's so scary. But I could never have that dream 5 years ago. Never. I could, like, if somebody was telling me that, it would be like, ha ha ha, me. Never. So I really believe in small steps, and expanding your comfort zone, and then the dreams just get bigger and bigger. It's like you're climbing the mountain, and all of a sudden you see the other mountains, and you see the other tops. So for me, I'm not the person who just jumps into things and I can do that and I can dream big. Like, I have to dream bigger and bigger and bigger, because I cannot believe in the biggest dream right now, if you know what I mean. Like, I need to do it slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome that you say that, because I have the opposite problem. I see, I can do anything and everything, and I'm going to go do it all. And then I try it, and I'm like, whoa, wait, I got myself into way too much here. Wow. I have to take a couple steps back, and then I just avoid it all. And so for me, I've just been really learning to slow it down. You know, if this is my comfort zone, I get some adrenaline rush by stepping all the way out here and just pushing it. But that's not good. Like, I've realized, like, that's really, really not that healthy. It's good to have that balance and have that sense of, okay, I can put one foot outside my comfort zone and have one foot inside. And then that's the way you can make your way through life. And I think that's a way better approach for sure, because when you go at that pace, you can learn and you don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, I think we all have to find our way. I just saw, I see a lot of interviews on YouTube, and what's his name? The guy that has this greatness podcast. I can't remember his name. He has been sorry, my English words are failing me right now.
That's okay.
But he's just so dedicated, and everything he does is so huge and so big, and he's so dedicated every morning to just wake up and make the best day. And I feel like that he's just too brilliant for me. Too brilliant. And that's too much for me. Like, I can't handle that much greatness in a way. Yeah. It's too great. Like, it's too much. I need to be like human.
Yeah. No, well, you know, I'm so great that you bring that point up. I think this is a perfect issue to address. I have that same question myself, and it's really nice that you say that, because I've never heard anyone else say that. Because for me, living in that sense of greatness all the time, it's just too overwhelming. It's like, how can you actually maintain that, hold that standard? And I always wonder in the back of my mind when I see people who live like that, I'm like, is there some unconscious perfectionist attitude at play there? Is there some unconscious, what's the word? I don't want to say like issue, but I guess that would be the right word. Is there some like unconscious thing that they haven't generated a self-awareness within to see yet? Or are they really just that awesome inside and out and they're killing it? Like, that's been the question that's been on the back of my mind when I see and meet some of these people, because I'm like, I don't see your humanity. Where is that? Like, or are you just really that good all the time? Or like, does that make sense how I'm explaining this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do think we are very different. Like that has surprised me in life. Like I think, don't you get that? You know, don't you feel like me? And then, no, I don't. Oh, but don't we all feel like that? No. So I have actually realized that we are quite different, although we are, you know, a lot the same. But what was my point here? Well, yeah, to me, it just freaks me out a bit. And if people are
Yeah.
too perfect, I think it's difficult to be around them too much because I can't be the same. And then I'm reminding myself that, okay, you are not them. You know, they are what they are, and that's perfect for them. And I can be inspired by it, but I must just be aware that is not bringing me actually down, like that I'm putting up a mirror and like, what are you doing, Jannecke? You are not perfect, and you should be waking up in the morning 6 o'clock and be like running, you know, and then start working at 6:30 or 7 o'clock and just be so strict
Yeah.
with your discipline. I'm not that, at least right now, I'm not like that. I need to like feel that, oh, today my body needs to sleep a bit more. Like, I
Yeah.
want to listen in. What do I need right now? And sometimes I need to sleep a bit more, and I can't uh, terrorize myself for it, you know? Judge
Yeah.
myself for it. And that's what I'm now in my course that I'm going to. It's like, what we just had this topic the other day, what do I need? And the brain is saying, I need to work, you know, I need to get this finished, I need to get that done. But the body's like, no, I need to go slow right now, walk slowly,
Yeah.
be aware, not multitask. I need to be present. I need to just lie on the couch and just breathe. And the brain doesn't have time for that because our society is so and my brain is like, but then I won't, you know, produce anything. And that scares, you know, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
But then I can get sick, you know, the body is like always saying what it needs for a reason.
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
care of you, you know, it has intelligence. So listening to the body is really nice, and our bodies are different, you know. So this guy I was referring to, maybe doesn't need to rest that much, and maybe, I mean, he has a totally different background than I do, different traumas, you know. So we need to listen to ourselves and not compare each other at all. We can be inspired, and I'm saying this to myself, be inspired by others, but don't compare yourself to them, because that's the
Beautiful.
road to yeah.
Wow, Jannecke, that's beautiful. I totally can relate to that. You know, for me, that's been the biggest challenge in my own life to kind of just slow down. Because, you know, I joined the military when I was 17, and I very much looked up to those people who were always just going and everything's regimented. And there you do sacrifice, I think, a piece of yourself when you act that way. And like you were saying, I think some people can, and they're fine and they're great. However, if you aspire to that and your body isn't like that, doesn't resonate with that, you know, then
Right,
that's something that we should be aware of and considerate of within ourselves.
right. It's all about listening to yourself, right? You,
Yeah,
not everybody else, you, and
yeah,
only you can know you.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's spot on. Yeah, when I look at characters like Tony Robbins or Elon Musk or Tim Ferriss or something like that, I'm always intrigued because I'm like, they must just be always on
Yeah.
24/7. And I tried that. Like I had to be that when I was in the military. And it was interesting because I could, in that environment, the collective energy was there supporting that type of life, but
Mm,
I was not aware at all. Like I didn't have an awareness of my body.
mm,
It was all about like pushing down that awareness of the body. Oh, I need to drink, or I need to take coffee, or I need to, all these external stimulants outside of me in order to maintain that lifestyle. And I feel like that's where our culture and our society really lives in. And I
mm.
think what I'm seeing from the work that I do with my clients, but also from talking and just going out there in the world, I think we're coming to a place where we can't sustain that anymore.
Mm.
Um, it's funny. I had a really interesting conversation over the winter with a woman who's really big in the cigar industry, like huge. And we were talking, and she was saying, "Yeah, it's getting a lot harder to sell cigars." And I was really intrigued by that. And as I'm looking at the health and the wellness industry, I think I was reading an article in Forbes the other day that preventative healthcare is like the next new thing. It's like the next billion-dollar industry. All these people, alternative healthcare people, are investing in it more. And at a collective level, I'm really seeing the shift away from suppressing our body's own natural needs and wants for rest. And I think we're really coming to a space now where those old ways of suppressing our awareness of our own body are not working anymore.
Right. I don't know what this disease is called in English. ME? Is it that? ME or MS or?
MS sounds right.
Yeah.
What's want to describe it?
Well, that you're tired all the time. Like,
Oh, fibromyalgia.
okay, yeah. I mean, I hear so many people get that. So many
Yeah.
people, one after the other, gets that syndrome, or I don't know what you call it in English. But I'm wondering if that is something, is linked to this. That we're not, too stressed. Like we stress our
Yes.
bodies and our minds. Actually, our minds. I think when you're constantly thinking and overthinking and everything is going on autopilot, everything you're doing, so you're not aware, I think that can cause stress to the body. And that causes things like that. Because the body has to react somehow. And then sometimes it just really tells you to stop. And for me, I lost my voice. So I didn't get that, but I lost my voice and I got depressed. So my big thing has been depression, my mental health. We all have our stuff. But when I couldn't talk or sing, I couldn't perform. So then I had to go inside. So I think life wants us to go inside and ask who we are and really be good to ourselves.
I totally agree. I think that's really key. And I've had some interesting experiences. There's one called Pratyahara, where the awareness, it's in the yogic tradition, the awareness turns from the outside world to the inside world, and you experience the body how you do the outside world. And I think it's more mystical and esoteric, but I think we are called to go within our bodies. We hear all these amazing stories of the body healing itself and the body's intelligence. And I think the more internal that we can go and still live in the world in a balanced way, because you can get out of balance for sure. I know I have. But I think the more internal that we go, the deeper we get into ourselves, and the less reliant we become upon the external world to have our needs met.
Yeah, and be grounded. Like I've understood how important it is to be grounded, to ground yourself almost every day. Ground yourself, like really picturing that you are, the energy is going to the earth and you're drawing up energy from the earth. So you're here. And then, because then you're not floating up here, but you're grounded in your body. I think all processes goes quicker when you're grounded in your body. But I wanted to mention that I've watched several of your videos, and I understood that you've had this Kundalini Awakening, and that seems like, it seems like you have really experienced this, like an integrated what we're talking about right now to a totally different level that I have. Like I've just had some experiences, like spiritual experiences, but I've never had this huge energy shift that you've had. So I'm sure you've seen and experienced many other perspectives in a way of being a human.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. It's for me at least, it's really confusing at times. Well, it used to be confusing, but I really feel like as I get deeper into this experience, I just become more totally in yoga or union. So, for instance, I'm very aware of the thoughts that I'm having and the emotions that I'm experiencing aren't just mine, but they're related to the outside world. And the quicker that I respond to those thoughts and those emotions that are coming up right away, the more in union I get with my environment. So for instance, I'll have a thought come in and I'll be like, that doesn't sound like my typical thought stream that I usually have.
Ah.
And then I'll say, whose thought really is this? Oh, I should reach out to that person. And then I reach out to them and, oh, I was just thinking about you, blah, 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 blah. And so it's real. I've experimented a lot with this. And now I'm starting to realize that our thoughts and our emotions, what it really means to live in full union or full yoga means to just become a response to the environment. The environment and you are one and the same. And when we're talking about grounding, that's another great way to ground is getting fully in union with the environment. I have so many conversations a day. I'm always involved in the community. I'm always out doing things. But at the same time, I do take that time for myself and walk that balance. But as I get more into this real yogic perspective, I'm seeing that there's no difference between what I call as my mind and the external world, or my emotions and the external world. They're one and the same. And as I get into more alignment with that, it's interesting. I get more energy to go out in the world, but I also get more energy to go deeper into my meditations as well. Like, for instance, it doesn't take me too long to get into a deeply meditative state if it feels right. So it's really interesting as this perspective comes in more and more. I'm starting to realize the interconnectedness of life and starting to live from that space, not in a mind space, because people, they get the spiritual understanding, but it's not embodied or integrated. And I have so many clients who come to me who say, oh, I feel, and oh yeah, this is the biggest thing. They say, I feel like I know everything up here, but I feel so disconnected from everyone. And I say, well, yeah, you have this spiritual, and this is what I think gives way to people who go into, thinking that they're special or thinking that they're the next Jesus Christ or something like that. I mean, I get it. I've had those thoughts come up and everything. But what happens is you have all these deep spiritual understandings, and people think, oh man, like no one else knows this out there in the world. And then that keeps them from actually connecting deeply and intimately with the world. Instead of grounding that, putting yourself out there these new ways that are really scary and sharing some information, and then realizing that when you actually do that, a lot more people are like you. And so for me, it was about taking all that spiritual understanding that I had that made me different from everyone else and really just sharing that openly when I felt right, or even when I didn't feel that right. And then and then another person would say, oh yeah, hey, I've been having that thought too. And so as I put myself out there more and more, and I do these things, and like we're saying, living from the heart, I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, living from the heart. You're just going to connect with your environment more, and you realize that your environment is a lot more like you than you realize in the mind.
Yeah. Oh, it's so easy to have that spiritual ego. I've had that. Oh, I felt so special, and everybody else was this and that. And then I realized that I learn from everybody all the time, and I don't have more right than them. It was many years ago that I thought that I didn't have the truth, but I knew more than certain people in a way. Like I put myself above them. And now I don't anymore, because I realize that they're on their own journey, and that's not less right than my journey. So, and they're showing up in my reality. So there's something for me to learn and interact with. So yeah, it's teaching all the time. Like we're saying in the school I'm going to, life is a reading, because we're reading each other, but life is a reading. And today I had this experience like I've been spending a lot of money lately because I'm buying new equipment, and then I was like, ooh, my bank account is like, ooh, I don't have that much money. I need some jobs. I need to, something to happen right now. And like in a few hours, I just got this text message like, do you want to do, this many hours of voiceover next week? And I was like, really? Thank you.
Yeah.
It was just a perfect timing. I just laughed because it was just right what I needed. And it's good money and few hours. And, so I was just like, thank you.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And I think that's that divine union that we're talking about. You have the thought, and then it's like that goes out there, and someone else is just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll reach out to, and it's just like we're living physically on a level, but mentally and emotionally, we're all connected as well.
Yeah.
And learning that piece and that integration, and just having the courage to share the thoughts that we're scared to have.
Yeah,
uh,
that
it,
too.
it yeah, it brings us together.
I
And
just want to say
yeah.
that it might sound, very naive. Like I just thought about it and it appeared. But the difference, I think, is that it didn't come from fear, like, I don't have money. It was just like, oh, I need, what could I do? It was this curious thing, like, I would like some more money right now. Uh,
Hmm.
and I thought about it because I'm trying to observe my feelings. I'm trying to observe what manifests and what doesn't, and to really understand more how this works in myself. So, and I think from everything I've learned, you manifest, much better when you're feeling it. You're having this and this open-minded feeling, and the emotions are in it, and the
Yes.
thoughts, and you kind of visualizing it. What could it come? Yeah, it would be good with voiceover jobs, or good with that, and then it came,
Mm.
instead of like, manifesting through lack. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I totally got that feeling. Absolutely, I totally got it. I mean, I could see it came from a very calm place, not from a place of, oh, I wonder if I'm going to have enough or not. And oh, I could clearly see
Yeah,
that.
because I think then it can move away from us actually when we step into that fear, which is hard because it's so easy to be afraid when we are lacking something. And that's something I've
Mhm.
been really, wondering about when I talk to teachers about law of attraction. Like, well, how can I be in this beautiful state where I can attract beautiful things when I don't feel great?
Right,
Um,
right.
so the
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a huge complex thing, right? Because we attract, what's in our subconscious, and we attract like things we don't even know are laying there, that are inside of us. um, but that's, i think I think on some level, we this path, or at least for me, is about letting go a lot of my childhood and my past traumas. So my
yeah,
energy gets more clear in a way,
yeah.
more pure. And I think that I let myself be in a bad mood sometimes and be low in my energy, because sometimes I need
Hmm.
to be there to just feel that
Absolutely.
emotion, and not being afraid of, oh, what am I manifesting right now, because maybe I'm acknowledging a feeling that
Yes.
needed to be seen, for instance. So these things are complex, and that's why, back to your one of your first questions, that's why I'm doing this, also to get more perspectives, because I can find myself doubting sometimes, that will things ever be better, because maybe I've had this issue for a long time and I've been working on it and it doesn't let go. And then, I get this perspective from a teacher that's saying, no, it's going in a spiral. It's not
Yeah,
like you didn't do a great job, or you've
yeah,
done something wrong. It's coming back to you, for you to perhaps see it in a different way or handle it in a different way. But you are on another level now. And
yeah.
that teaching was just what I needed, because I felt like I've been working so much with this issue, and it just came back and came back. But I'm a different person, so I'm reacting a different way, or responding a different way now. So
Mm.
I need this teaching. That's why I'm doing these interviews. I get so inspired, and it helps me in my life.
That's beautiful, Janneke. And I really like what you said about the spiral, and I'm gonna have to steal that because it makes perfect sense to me. I get it right away. It's like I think a lot of the times the way that we've been conditioned in our societies, it's like a one or done deal. It's like all or nothing. You have sickness, here's a pill, you cure it, or you have this problem, here's the solution. But it doesn't, real nature and real life like doesn't actually work like that. It comes back around. You might make the right move one time, and then it comes back around just to confirm, because it's an energy, like it's like it's a pattern, and so that pattern's going to come back around again, and you might chip away at it a little bit more at that space, and then eventually it gets to a point where the pattern doesn't even show back up around because you've changed it. but it
Right.
does take time to get there. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that and just sit with that, because I used to have that same thing too. I would get this anxiety, like, oh, I'm feeling fear right now. This isn't good. That means something bad is going to happen or show up. And it's like, well, no, how about we just sit with this, acknowledge the fear, be real with it. It's okay.
Hmm.
Be real with it. And then once it passes, and realize that, yeah, it might come back again. But
Yeah.
when it comes back again the second time, it's not going to be nearly as powerful. And that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about, oh, there's a feedback here. I've been thinking about my depression. Why am I not afraid of it coming back in a way? Because it was so
Mm,
horrible. It was so horrible. Like life lost all colors. I didn't do anything. I was just dead inside.
mm, mm.
But it has made me stronger in a way. That's made me much more grateful. And then now it's like I know I can go down, like I can be really down, but it's another quality than the depression. It's like I can't get as depressed, like I can't get there. It's not that I want to, but it has a different quality. I can be really sad and like
Right.
what do you call it, in not in a bad mood, but
Down.
frustrated, down,
Us-
yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't get as low, and that's, I think, because I've let go so much, because my level of consciousness is higher. So I can't just fall down as deep, and that, of course, I'm glad that it is that way. But I wanted also to mention, I think many people have experienced that people are coming back in your life. And I find that maybe the most interesting, not just, feelings and things or patterns, but people, like these soulmate connections, they are
Mm,
really, they are fascinating me. I think
mm,
they are the most magical thing, like human interaction, like what happens
mm,
between people, and why I meet certain people again and again, like on the street, like in the weirdest places, I meet them, and I'm so fascinated by that, and I always notice it. And often, like you, I can get it in before. Like it's just knowing that, oh, this person, and then I meet them on the streets. So there's this link there, and sometimes it can be a past lover, or it can be a friend. Sometimes it's just this person that I just meet all the time, and I have no idea.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that just so fascinating. I don't have an answer to it, but
No, that's okay. I had this one interesting experience I remember. I'll never forget it, but it relates to what you're saying. My consciousness just fully left, like fully left the physical, and I was up in this different, totally altered state. And I'll never forget it. It was probably one of the most beautiful experiences I had, but I experienced myself just as this like energy in a stream. And I heard all the other voices, like it felt like in the world, and but I was just this energy, and I saw all these other like energies around me that were like spirits or souls or who what we would call as myself, and we were all in the stream heading in the same direction. So we were going there no matter what, but some people were like doing this number, like they were still going down, but like within the stream they were going left and right, and their lives were chaotic. And then some people were just going straight and really going down the stream really quickly and just trusting it. And then there was like, and other people were like intertwining like this, like, oh, maybe this is a marriage right here, and then maybe this is like 5 years they come back together, or maybe they split off. And it was the most interesting experience I ever had. And when I came back down from this experience, I just started crying, because I remember thinking, oh my gosh, that was it, man. Like that was like the whole human condition and human experience of life right up there for like a good minute that I just seen. And it was just such a beautiful experience, and it made me trust life on a little bit more of a deeper level.
yeah,
So,
wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I definitely need to interview you. I like, you have such an interesting story, and there's just so many levels to you. Like I really love your videos. And I'm very curious about everything about you. So I hope we can do an interview. And
oh, thanks, Jim. Yeah.
yeah, and I love hearing also stories like that, because that's where we come from, I believe. And I also have had some experiences,
Mm,
especially one that I remember that was just so beautiful. I meditated on the heart like an hour, just lie down in my this bed, and all of a sudden it was like I was shooting out of my body. I don't know. Now my clock is 22:22. That's a good sign. Yeah, I was just shooting out, and I felt so huge. Like I was just growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was so huge all of a sudden. Like I felt as huge as the universe. And then I felt this enormous love towards myself. Oh my goodness, like so much love. And at the same time, I loved myself. So it was this like duality thing that I was love and I was being loved at the same time. And I just realized that I am love. Like, why would I ever doubt that I was good enough? Like, I am love. Like, I love myself so much. It was just so big and huge. And when I came back, wow, I felt high. Like, I felt high afterwards. And I just knew I had experienced something really profound. And the truth, in a way, the truth about who I was and who everybody is. Like I just knew. It is so strange when you have this feeling that you just know. You just know. So yeah, I really believe that we all are just love. That's who we are, and we are loved, like tremendously, like beyond imagination. And sometimes I've been thinking, I wish I still had that feeling when I doubt myself, when I'm not super fond of myself. I wish I just could remember that feeling in a way, or have that awareness. I know it's intellectually now, but I can't really feel that feeling that I felt. But it is what was the word? Soothing to know, to have experienced that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I think you're right. I think in those moments of darkness, it is hard to remember that. And I know for me, I try to hold space for both. I try to hold space for the darkness and all the shit that's coming up and the craziness and the insanity. But at the same time, I hold space for like that loving feeling or that experience that you had. And I think that's really, truly honoring like all of our existence for sure. If you can hold both of those in there and be like, this really sucks. I fucking hate this. Like, I don't want to do this again, but at the same time be, you know what, like, I am still loved and I still have these other amazing experiences, and honoring all of life. And it's not easy to do, and it's definitely a practice that I still am learning, but wow. So, Jannecke, I'm going to ask one more question here. What direction are you taking your brand now that you can speak about? I know you can't speak about too much of this stuff, but and it's a surprise. So, hey, everyone in the world, we got a surprise coming. So I want to explain to everyone. But what can you speak about? Oh, you're a little nervous about it.
I'm a bit nervous about it because, I have this inner dream right now, and I haven't told that many, but I definitely want to take Wisdom from North to the next level. And I kind of felt that I got this clear idea all of a sudden now in March that I did 5 years ago, this very clear idea. And I'm still feeling, is it as clear as it was? Is this really what I'm going to do? But I definitely have this urge to connect transformational teachers, help them to bring out their messages. And not many people are doing that in Scandinavia. There are a lot of speakers, but they're just all over the place, And they're not connected in a way. They're just doing their work alone. And I kind of want to make this umbrella. So that's what I'm working with, and I want to work also with people, because I've been working so much alone, and I feel that it can be a bit lonely. So now I want to have a team. I visualize, having this team, and I found this one woman, so we're probably going to be partners. And it's huge. Starting a business, it's huge. So many things that has to fall in place, but the trick is to practice what I've learned in business, because I think one of the best places to learn about yourself is in business, because you meet so
absolutely.
much resistance and
totally. Yeah, one of one of I just was in a meeting earlier this morning, a prospective person that I was going to work with, and that was what he told me. He said, and I thought it was brilliant. He said, business is your guru.
Yeah, right. I know.
Yeah.
Like put value on your product. Like how much is it going to cost? Like or the fear of being too visible. The fear of putting value on your work, basically.
Yes. Yes.
And I've been doing it so much for free, and I came to also a point where, am I supporting myself here? Like I'm giving out so much to others, and yes, I'm getting a lot back, but I am still working on this day job. How long can I do this? So I had to like really be honest with myself, and so
Beautiful.
there was a process there, and I'm excited to see what's going to manifest.
Yeah. Well, Jannecke, I'm really excited to see what you bring up. I mean, I've seen a lot of your videos. I've watched them for quite some time now. So whatever you put together, you and your team that you'll be working with, I'm really excited for it. And I'm pretty sure the world definitely is ready for it as well. And they need it for sure.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much
Yeah.
for letting me be on your show. I love your show. So just keep on doing what you're doing. It's super important.
Oh, thanks, Jannecke. I really appreciate having you on. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk soon. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And everybody, if you want to check out her channel is called Wisdom from North, and she does all these live interviews, and she's doing this project now. So maybe if you guys have any good ideas or know some connections or some people, maybe send some stuff her way. I think that would be really good and helpful. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.